Well, it's great to be here. Great to share. It's quite an adventure for a while. We're going through in our organization, and diversity as one of the major challenges we face in our school made it, though, or was our learning point for ourselves and the organization as well. So it seemed increasingly clear that without a learning organization, we will not be able to meet the needs of the students. And I'd like to start with the ending. In order not to show you my 78 slides, you can help me pick out what interests you personally, specifically. So what brings you here? What is your best hope for this exchange that we're going to have? Or as well, what is your most burning question? And thank you, Laura, for not bringing some music. I will offer you 4 minutes of music so that you can add your questions, your hopes in the chat, and I'll promise that I'll try to focus on what is written there while using some of my slides. That's okay for you. Okay, thank you, Ariana. I'm not sure whether I missed some of your questions or inputs. I will start and hope we can enjoy this journey as well. I'm trying to see the chat as well as my presentation, which doesn't seem to be very easy, but I managed. I have one slide that I think is my most important slide, because I think sociocracy and development of schools is not only about organizational structure or processes or whatever. It's about awareness and consciousness. And this quote of Karl Valentin helps me throughout sometimes quite challenging times. I hope you can see it, and I don't read to you when it's clear and visible. Our school is a very small school, and maybe therefore we have the opportunities to develop in steps and speed according to the people that we care for. Students who come to our school usually don't succeed in public schools. That makes it a real challenge to work with them, because they are not successful learners, or they have to unlearn first a lot of things, a lot of sentences they have in themselves about their own path in learning. Over the year, we asked ourselves, what are we doing? It's not trying to fulfill a curriculum. It's beyond that. Maybe you're familiar with the quote of, we teach, we touch the future. And that's what we actually find is appropriate for what we are trying to do. And then for us, a couple of years ago, we started with that kind of mission, or it's that it's not only about students. It's not about the parents, or it's about everyone, including it's about society. So when we touch the future, then we need to know where are we going, or at least find out what possible ways that are in front of us. And as a private school, parents decide to have confidence in us that even though the path of learning for their children was not the best possible, that we could manage differently. And at the same time, when we say we'd like to prepare our students for their future, which we don't exactly know what it looks like, then we are finding new ways of dealing with the unknown. And instead of fearing the unknown, we try to exchange it or replace it with curiosity. So that's our school building in Winterthur, which is in Switzerland, near Zurich. And it was not a typical school building. Some facts about our school. And this is different to you. You may be familiar with School Circles, the film, the movie. We are a state-approved school. And it's totally different from a free learner school. So we have to balance quite a number of challenges, because we are controlled and checked as well on the basis of the public school curriculum. From early on, we learned that having classes, traditional classes, like your birth date is the ideal element of having the best group of people together for learning, is not our approach. In our 35 students, we have students with severe learning disabilities up to absolute high achieving students who failed in public schools. So IQs from about under 80 to 145 is the range in one group, which isn't, it's not usual to have students together according to their birth date. It's finding groups of young people together with adults who inspire and learn together. Our school is mainly financed by parents, and for 30% is the state school boards, schools, public schools that are not able to accommodate a student, the high achievers, for example. And we have a total of 21 teachers for these 35 students, but they are sharing 7 full-time jobs. And in addition, two young men working on civil service duty, which is a nice bridge between the adolescents and the adults. They have a bridging role in our organization. So how did we come here to introduce to Sociocracy? In the year 2000, I came to this school after 5 years, and I was an absolute fan of the solution-focused approach that was brought into the world by Insoo Kim Berg and deShazer. In 2003, we encountered our first very difficult situations when we tried to accommodate bullying traumatized student. That was the point where we felt we have to learn something new in order to meet the needs of the people involved here. In 2004, we had our first Asperger syndrome student. And because I didn't understand what it was at that time, we said, okay, we are willing and able to try to work with him. And it was by chance that I encountered in 2005 Spiral Dynamics in Integrale, which opened our possibilities to work with students that are described as Asperger syndrome students, for example. In 2007, we had we learned from Spiral Dynamics that flex flow would be a very good form of team organization, and we started with these elements. Restorative justice circles as a surplus to nonviolent communication was installed in 2009, and we became something in nonviolent communications terms of a giraffe school. And we taught all of our staff members, all of our students, including parents, nonviolent communication. And starting in 2014, we started a transition towards Sociocracy 3.0. Sociocracy 3.0 because we really appreciate the possibility to design and pick elements and processes on our own and to apply step by step and enlarge the number of tools and processes installed in our school. The shortest possible way to speak of solution-focused approach with the second one here is one of the very important ones. When that changes the attitude and the awareness of the school, when the client is the expert. And sometimes we struggle with who is the client in a school? Is it the student? Is it is it the parents, or is it society? We think the client is the student, and the student is an expert. Sometimes he has forgotten that he or she is an expert, but there we start. Not the teacher is the expert. The teacher is a learner as well and starts by asking questions. And the activity is with the client, so where the activity is, there is learning. And oftentimes we see classrooms where the teacher is the one who is really active. I'm having a look at the chat so that I don't miss important inputs. Yes, I'll go on. This last quote might be helpful in many situations when we struggle. Often when we encounter a problem or a challenge or a situation, whatever you might call it, the question is, why is it a problem? When did it start? And Solution Focus gave us definitely new toolbox to explore on solutions, on exceptions, and to take care of the resources of everyone included. Our nonviolent part. If I reduce NVC to one of the most important quotes, then it would be no correction before connection, and this would be valuable for everyone in our school, for everyone. And here, tried to combine Steve deShazer on the left and Marshall B. Rosenberg on the right, combining quotes that didn't exist before. We just mixed it. That's where the needs list for our students comes in. I jumped the flow. When we teach students, we teach them not only what to learn, we try to help them to rediscover their growth mindset. And that comes along for us as well, so that we have our growth mindset as well. A short overview over spiral dynamics, and I jump. We added some symbols, as you see popping up here. Actually, we arrived here with the integral competence model after spiral dynamics, and this is the lower left quadrant where we saw our values mirrored. We saw what is important to us in our school, and we found out we are definitely in the green region of what is here. And the question was, how can we possibly have an organization in the lower right quadrant that is meeting the green level, operating level of our school? And you see here in the form of an organization, it would be a network organization. And schools, as I know them, do not only have one kind of organization. Teachers work some sometimes as an informal network, and with the headmasters or principals, you have a blue hierarchy included in this work. One insight we had a couple of years ago is why didn't it function, or doesn't it function in quite a lot of public schools, is because the load of the highest complexity is on the lowest rank in hierarchy in schools. So if you are a teacher, you're confronted with the densest complexity in the whole organization. And that is the basis for evolution or development in thinking and acting, while headmasters or administration can live still in a completely different world, where hierarchy is in the foreground. If you're interested in combining integral approach with reinventing education, this would be a link for a podcast I could warmly recommend. Holacracy was a nice tool to learn, and at the same time, we heard from different speakers as well, it was too mechanistic for what we were looking for, and Sociocracy 3.0 was the tool, was the tool set that helped us to evolve from where we already started, and including and transcending what we had. This was last year's schedule. Interesting, maybe to see when you see the colors yellow, blue, and these are the colors of the team, because the walls are painted in color, so that the teams study together, and they have a large number of opportunities in the afternoons to learn, to choose from workshops, as well as this individual learning and working, ILW, as you see there. Tuesday mornings we had a lab version of mathematics. This was a bold move, because when it comes to math in secondary school, and you haven't been successful in math up to 7th grade, it can be very challenging. So the different shades of brown represent the brightest one is you like to learn math more or less one-on-one, no matter on what level. It's not that you are not you're not able to work in math, but you need safety and security on a level that is more or less one-on-one. The next step was you are a student that likes school as it was. So there is a teacher, there's a whiteboard or a blackboard, and all the students do the same thing at the same time together. This gives you the feeling of being part of a group and making progress. The third version was you prefer individual learning, but you like to be sure that there is someone, whenever there's a difficulty popping up, that you will get support, either from a teacher or from someone in the room. And the last version of math here was you really like to tackle difficult problems when it comes to math. And you use online platforms, you use Khan Academy, whatever, and you evolve accordingly. Now, where are our sociocratic structures? You see, on Thursday afternoon, there's specific time for student circles. We call the leadership circle of our students is called Solution League. And every one of these circles has a representative teacher, and students choose where they want to attend. And maybe you see the 7th grade students, they go for a walk because they are responsible for the cooking on Thursdays, and that's quite challenging, so they have a break if they want on Thursdays. We have a special room that is called Atlantis, and students are allowed to book tickets to Atlantis. It's a very quiet room where you can work on your own. You don't need to be in your team room when you feel like, no, that's the right place, the right spot, or the appropriate moment to work my own. When it comes to diversity, we bring along some. And we're quite proud to have an equal number of men and women in education. It's rather rare. Okay, maybe there are more slides, but let's have a look at what questions pop up and what can we still exchange. Yes, of course.
How do you teach your students sociocracy, or do you teach your students sociocracy?
Yes, we do. That's partly it's learning by doing. Here you see our circles. So every student, in one or the other way, takes part in the whole circle, in the school circle, and has the opportunities to take part in one or multiple other circles as well. And we have some sorts of handouts, so that in the beginning it was more or less the teachers who were taking responsibility for facilitating the circles, and now with the double links, we have students who take the responsibility for facilitating the circles, including the whole school circle as well. Was that an answer?
Yes, I guess so. Well, it was basically the answer that you fully integrate your students in the school policy.
yes, and in school development. So the solution circle it takes part when we in our development of the school, and when we are invited to share what we are doing in our school, then solution circle members come along with me, which sometimes is a bit challenging for the adults, because they think, so you are the headmaster and you have some junior headmasters with you, because from the outside it's sometimes very difficult to understand what we're doing here.
What would your tip be for other school headmasters to involve children?
Well, if there is a simple tip, I think I often work with the deepest inner longing that headmasters and teachers as well share, that there must be a different way of managing, there must be a different way of co-creating learning environments. And maybe it starts within a single classroom. Maybe it starts with one simple tool. I don't have a slide for it, but my most powerful tool in order to change schools, I work as a school development consultant as well, would be Edward de Bono's plus minus interesting thought process that opens up for what comes afterwards with sociocracy. But it's not, I think it's not tools first. It's awareness, it's consciousness, and it's this longing within people that the traditional way of schooling cannot be the answer for what we are faced with today.
Thank you very much. I hope we keep connected. I just added you in the Facebook group.
Of course.
Thank you.
I mean, I have a question too. I would love for you to say more about the connection or the relationship between NVC and Sociocracy. And because when you asked the question that in the beginning, the question that popped up for me is what I'm being asked sometimes, and that is NVC necessary for Sociocracy?
No, it isn't. If NVC is a specific way of communicating, then it isn't. If NVC represents the awareness and consciousness of equal dignity and of all people involved, then yes, it is.
Wow, I didn't expect such a short, concise, and beautiful answer. Yes. That goes on my list of things to say now.
Okay. Well, it can be a misunderstanding that is it okay to use the spiral dynamics colors? So NVC, sociocracy sometimes is misinterpreted as a tool for green organization, and it is not. It is yellow awareness or teal awareness that is necessary in order to thrive. And it's important to make this distinction.
Do you want to unpack that a little? We still have a minute or two. I would love to hear you unpack that.
Unpack that. Okay. When we look at a at the quadrants here. In schools, when you're working with children or in health system or in social work, then your everyday challenge well helps you or needs that you are at a more or less green level of operation, because people, well, everyone counts. The title of the book, Many Voices, One Song, could be misinterpreted as a green. We are including everyone, everything, and then there's a bracket except for. Green has many advantages and some very difficult disadvantages, because it's the most intolerant level of human development. And at the same time, green has the impression it is the most tolerant. And to overcome this dichotomy, you have to step into this yellow kind of operation, and basic democratic processes are green processes. Sociocracy would be a yellow process. And I don't know how difficult or how explicit you want me to unpack it. That takes quite some time when I use spiral dynamics colors to explain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. That helped. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm familiar with the colors, but I'm not sure how much other people here are familiar. I'm guessing they are, but. And yes, go ahead. We are on the time mark right now, but please finish your thought.
What about the blue?
Yeah, hold on. If we give you time for one more question, it would, I think, be are parents involved in governance? That would be an interesting question. I think that.
Yes, the parents are involved. We have a board it's called board, but it's a circle, and there are parents, actual parents and former parents, together with representative of services as well, and we do training in all of our important elements in our school with all the parents as well. So they are trained in nonviolent communication, in solution focused, in new authority, Chaim Omer, or spiral dynamics. So that it's not a strange thing. It's not magic what we do. We share, but it's very nice. We have two daughters of principals in public schools in our school, and these mothers who work as principals, they take the experience back to their schools. They invite us as well to work with the teachers, with the staff members there.
Thank you very much.
I just unmuted and I realized we're over time. I have one more question. Can I ask? I was wondering, because you are state acknowledged, is this something that helps, that you are taking care of students that do not really fit in the public system? Is this a kind of like, it has to do with that? It's like the rules are like kind of bending a little bit because you are taking care of a group that maybe the public schools have difficulty with?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's multifaceted. One is parents. If there was so much pain in seeing the children go through school, they really need something like safety and security. And in Switzerland, that's one part. And at the same time, we wouldn't have state-financed students in our school if we are not state approved. But those who come to visit us to see whether or not we're doing the right job, they come to learn, but they don't know what we do.